My name is Adrian Navarre. I'm the CEO and founder of Ticker Trends. Today I wanted to give a brief overview of some of our new enterprise features which we've added to Ticker Trends. I want to briefly say that Ticker Trends has been contacted and has started working with some of the largest hedge funds in the world in terms of quant funds and discretionary funds. And this means that when I go into showing you what we offer on our platform and the direction of our technology and what we're doing, very often the question can come up, well, what makes this different or what makes you all unique? And I think some of these enterprise features, which we've just launched, really shows the future direction of our technology and also further solidifies what makes us unique. Because the way that we interpret data, the way that we utilize data, and the various tools that we have for this data is super different than anyone else, both for public market research and private market research. And that's validated by the fact that large hedge funds and quant funds quite literally reach out to us because they are interested in it, because it's a unique approach and it's not something that they already do. So now I'll jump over to the platform and give you a demo of what I'm talking about. So the first most significant feature which I'd like to display, and I'm going to have to move my camera for this, is the brand new Trend Lab feature on Ticker Trends. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Ticker Trends platform, which I highly recommend you check it out because there's a lot to our platform, a brief simplified version of it is essentially you can search for anything and receive data to be able to gauge the performance of that thing that you're searching for. So that can be a public company, that can be a private company, or that can be any keyword or phrase. And the way that we do this is we aggregate data sources from a variety of sources, all the way from social media to search trends to anything that can help you gauge consumer interest in something. We aggregate that in one platform, and we've built a tool that allows you to essentially gauge the interest in anything with that data. So it can be used for things like consumer interest, revenue projections, public market investing, private market investing, competitor research, anything to that extent. Now, sometimes the question comes up that there might be values or data terms that you'd like to analyze that's not showing up in our results. And so what needs to happen here is there needs to be some way to be able to customize or further improve the values which are being shown on our dashboard. Now, in the past, what we've offered users is this quick add feature, which is shown on the bottom of the website. Essentially, what you can do is you can select from any of the data types which we collect on our platform. I can select one of these data types, enter a value, click quick add, and that will add the value to the system so that I can then analyze that value in the future. And these are all time series values. So just to give you an example, in this case, I'm looking at Estee Lauder, and I can view interest in cosmetics over time and see how that relates to the stock price of Estee Lauder. Now, in the case that a term doesn't show up, and maybe cosmetics didn't show up, or some of the brands or things that I'm interested in tracking for Estee Lauder are not showing up, previously I'd have to add these values manually. Now we've added a new feature called the Trend Lab, and essentially what you can think of this as is a research assistant which will identify values which will be helpful for you in analyzing a business or essentially do any task for you. And this is really interesting because it expands our coverage, which was previously already virtually infinite, but to some extent it was limited by the corpus which we were already tracking. Basically what I'm saying is in the search results that you see on Ticker Trends, these results come from values that we're already tracking. Now, while we have a very broad number of values which we're already tracking, there's always a chance that the specific value that you want to see is not already being tracked, because hypothetically there are millions and hundreds of millions of values that we could be tracking. So what you can do in this case is you can use the Trend Lab to essentially talk in natural language to our research system and have the system identify and add new values for you at scale. And this can be done multiple different tasks at once. So I'll give an example with SD Lauder, but I'll also explain how this is applicable in many other situations as well. So in this case with SD Lauder, let's say I'm not seeing enough information for brands that relate to this business, and I'd like to get more information on which brands SD Lauder owns. So what I can query is add search trends for the largest brands owned by SD Lauder. And I'm just going to adjust this and say the largest brands and products owned by SD Lauder. So this will now allow me to help me gauge more information on the brands and businesses and products that SD Lauder owns. And of course, this is a business that owns many brands. So now when I click submit, this agent will essentially start researching this for me. Now I'm also going to copy this, and I'll show you why in just a second. But in this case, I'm asking for search trends. So I'm going to run that process. And at the same time, I'm going to create a new tab, and I'm going to start another query. And in this case, I'm going to, instead of saying search trends, I'm going to say Instagram accounts. And I'm going to start that task as well. So now we have different agents, one searching for search trends related for the largest brands and products owned by SD Lauder, and another one for Instagram accounts for the largest brands and values of SD Lauder. Now what you can already see happening here is the first process which we've started is adding search trends to our graph. So in the background on the legend, you can see some of these brands which it's identified as being potential brands which SD Lauder owns. And it was adding those brands to our charts so that we can then analyze the performance of those brands over time. In addition, you can now see that since we had two tasks running at the same time, one for search trends and one for Instagram accounts, we've also had the agent add Instagram accounts for some of these brands as well. Now, this happened, again, as you just saw, in a matter of maybe less than a minute, in 30, 40 seconds. And this is really amazing because it significantly cuts down on the amount of research that I need to do in order to gauge the performance of SD Lauder. Now, it's added a bunch of values here, and this might be overwhelming. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove some of these values. Obviously, you wouldn't be looking at 10 at one time. But just to give you a gauge of what this looks like, I am going to focus on, let's say, the La Mer brand. So I'm going to remove these other values from our chart of Instagram and search trends types, and I'm going to leave the search trend and Instagram trend for these two values. So now that the other values are removed from the chart, I can see more information on what all of those different values that it added are. In this case, I'm looking at the search trend for La Mer, and also looking at the Instagram account performance for La Mer and the change in followers over time. So this is very helpful information in being able to gauge the performance of SD Lauder, get very detailed information on things like social media performance, so tracking the change in followers over time, the number of posts, the average likes, average comments, etc. Significant amounts of alternative data which we're aggregating and tracking from various platforms. I can even see it in a table format of some of the social media performance changing over time. But again, the most amazing aspect and coolest part of this, even beyond just viewing the data, is the fact that my research process for identifying which brands and products were relevant to SD Lauder and discovering those values was all done automatically. And this can be done not just by querying for specific companies like I had done before, but I can even go all the way and be very vague because this system has access to vast amounts of data. I can even say add search trends for popular makeup brands and products from TikTok. So essentially what I'm saying here is the level to which you can get creative with these queries, or the research tasks and processes which you create with the Trend Lab on Ticker Trends is virtually unlimited, and it has access to data and information from everything on the internet. So there's no limit in terms of being able to say, well, can I get the popular brands and values from Reddit? Can I get the popular brands and values from TikTok, from Twitter, from essentially any platform? It will research things from that platform and add the values for you to the chart and do the research for you so that you can focus on just analyzing the performance of those values as well as discovering new interesting opportunities. Obviously, in this case, I could keep asking it to find more, but just initially it found Fenty Beauty, James Charles, some product that they launched, and Glossier brand. So again, this is just examples of the automated research process through the Trend Lab available on Ticker Trends Enterprise. Another cool feature which we've added to Ticker Trends Enterprise is also this idea of generative dashboards. I think this is also a really great example of our ability to merge the intersection between this automated research and discovery of ideas and matching that with actionable data. So what I can do with Ticker Trends' new generative dashboards is whenever I create a new dashboard page, I can essentially type any query here and click the button generate instead of add. Normally, if I click add, this would be a dashboard that's going to be empty, and I can create widgets and customize this dashboard. If I click generate, a dashboard will be created for me based on the query which I enter. So something that I could enter would be something like running shoe brands or anything from private market, toy brands. You could type in essentially anything. And the purpose of this is a dashboard will be created for you to be able to track the performance of the thing you type in. And this can be anywhere from things like I'm typing here, like a sector. I could even go all the way down to a specific business. I could say Garmin products. I could even say something like the running shoe sector or energy drink sector. And then a dashboard will be created with relevant values, about 30 relevant values or 20 to 30 relevant values automatically. So I'll go ahead and show you an example of some of the dashboards which have been auto-generated. One, and this you can see the exact query I typed here, was healthy energy drink sector, right? So I have limited knowledge on this sector, or maybe I'm investor interested in this sector, and I want to discover all these different values and brands within the healthy energy drink sector. Or maybe if I own a healthy energy drink brand, I want to do competitor research. So just by typing in healthy energy drink sector, this dashboard was generated for me to track the various values like Monster Energy, Rockstar, 5 Hour Energy, Full Throttle, NOS, all of these energy drink brands. And again, I didn't have to do any research to even identify these keywords or values. It researched the internet for me and created this dashboard with 30 various search trends and values that relate to the query that I was interested in. So what I want to display with these features and talk about with Ticker Trends Enterprise is what we're doing here is we have a platform that allows you to gauge the interest of anything, essentially any consumer product or brand or thing that people are searching for, all the way from macro trends to private markets to public markets to products and social media trends. Anything can be tracked with our platform, and it can be done with very little knowledge even of the thing that you're trying to track. Our platform is now automated to the point where you can use natural language to essentially describe what you're trying to accomplish, retrieve values and many data sources for what you're trying to accomplish, to then be able to determine actionable insights and research, discover, and analyze things exceedingly efficiently. If you're a hedge fund, if you're work at a financial firm, this can save you the cost of having to hire a new engineer, a software development team, ingesting any of these data sets. We do that all for you automatically. And I'm exceedingly confident that once you try our platform and you try some of these features, in addition to many things which I haven't shown in this short demo, I'm very confident that you would be very happy with what we offer. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to us, tickertrends.io, specifically for enterprise access. There is a contact us form on tickertrends.io where you can reach out about enterprise access. We do enterprise access on a yearly plan, which is typically reserved either for power users or businesses and enterprise customers who are interested in adopting this, typically for some level of commercial needs to be either more profitable in public markets, do private market research, or do competitor intelligence if you're a consumer brand or a brand that's interested in utilizing this form of data. So I highly recommend you reach out to us. We'll set up a free trial for you, and I look forward to working together. Thank you.